What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today, as you can see, we've got a very bright Jeep in front of us, or behind me, I guess. And today is a first for two things, which is the new Tuscadero Pearl Coat paint, which is a really cool pink or magenta or purpley pinky color, whatever you want to call it. And this is the first Xtreme Recon package that I have got to see in person. So we'll do our normal thing. We'll take a walk around. We'll look at some of the Xtreme Recon stuff on this thing, and then we will get it out on the road and drive it. As you can see, we have the Tuscadero Pearl Coat, which is probably not coming through on camera as awesome as it is in person, but it is like a very pink, magenta, pearly metallic-y color that again, I don't know if you guys can see in the sun here. It is super metal flake, but it looks really good, really unique. You'll definitely be a little more standout driving around out on the road. So that is the end of the paint side of things. Nothing else special other than the exterior paint color, but this does have the Xtreme Recon package. So this thing is sitting roughly an inch and a half taller than a normal Rubicon, and it's sitting on factory 35-inch tall tires with the beadlock capable wheels of the 392 Wrangler. They are not in the bronze color, but they are in kind of a cool graphite dark charcoal color, which honestly looks really good with the paint color. Now, some of the other weird things here on a Xtreme Recon is these wider fender flare extensions, and I'm sure that's for tire coverage laws on some states, because you do have them front and rear, and you know the 35s are going to stick out just a little bit more than those factory 33s. So I'm assuming that's why we have those fender flare extensions, and that's also going to help keep some of the garbage from splashing up onto the paint from those bigger, wider tires. Also, with the Xtreme Recon package, it does come from the factory with the Mopar tire reinforcement and the tire carrier bracket. Kind of hard to see back there, but that lifts that spare tire up so it clears the lower portion of the bumper. Now, one thing I was a little interested about was what shocks they were going to have, because I was hoping maybe they would have the Rubicon 392 Fox shocks, but as you can tell, it does just have the red Rubicon shocks, even with that slightly taller stance at that inch or inch and a half. Another unique Xtreme Recon part I noticed is this taillight extension bezel, which basically moves the taillight out from the body about 1 inch over a normal JL Wrangler, and I can only assume this is for taillight viewing with that larger spare tire, because if you look at this versus a normal JL, you notice that bezel is not there. So I can only assume it is for better viewing with that large spare tire. But the big thing about the Xtreme Recon is the gearing in the axles. They come with factory 456 gears. And yeah, you're not gonna see anything appearance-wise different because that ring and pinion gear set is in the axle, but that's what I am super excited to go out and drive and see how factory 456 gears feel in a lifted Wrangler with 35s with the V6 going down the road. And if I didn't mention before, this is the 3.6 liter V6. This is not a 392. It's not a 2-liter turbo. It is the 3.6 liter V6. So we'll go out, get the thing on the road, and see what we can do. Now, I didn't really go over any of the interior because there is no changes on a Xtreme Recon or the Tuscadero Pearl Coat. It is all carryover. This is a Rubicon, so you've got all of your normal Rubicon stuff. This one does have the 8.4-inch radio, and it does have all of the red accents, red stitching that you would normally find in a Rubicon. So yes, no change there, no cool special interior accents. It is just what it is. But the big thing is going to be those 456 gears that are built in from the factory in those axles, and that is going to be a game changer. Now, like you've heard me talk about previously, the Jeep Wrangler JL with that 8-speed automatic transmission is such a beast. It really doesn't seem to affect it too much. Even when we put big lifts with 37-inch tall tires, they still move really good down the road. It doesn't really affect how they go. So the fact that this has 456 gears over the standard 410 or 373 of some of the lower trim levels should make this thing move even better down the road. It should accelerate better. It should, in theory, get more gas mileage if it's able to utilize higher gears of the transmission while it's moving down the road and not have to jump around and hunt around with gears if you were driving with heavier load or pulling something or into wind. And today we are in massive wind. It's blowing extremely crazy. There's a wind advisory on the radio screen. So as you can tell, it's crazy Kansas wind. I hope you could hear what I was talking about outside on that walk around. Now, one thing that I thought was a little bit interesting here as we're sitting at the stoplight is the tire size. You know, Jeep advertised that these are 35-inch tall tires. So I expected to see the inch tire size of 35 1250 R17 on the side of those BF Goodwrench KO2 tires, but I was surprised to see that they were 315/70 R17s. Now, yes, they're both almost identical tire size, tire widths, but I kind of assumed they would have just thrown the 35-inch tall inch size tires instead of the metric equivalent, but makes no difference, just a weird thing that I noticed. Now, pulling away with the 456 gears, I'm in already third gear, and again, it feels very normal, but I do think I feel a little more pickup than a normal Wrangler, and probably even a normal stock height Wrangler. It just seems a little more lively, a little more light on its feet with that 456 gearing, which it should, as it's able to utilize the transmission and accelerate just a little bit quicker. Now, will a lot of the guys with Xtreme Recons immediately bolt 37s on them and make them feel kind of back how a Jeep without gearing feels? Yeah, probably, but you at least know that you're already starting off with those 456 gears to move down the road. Now, let's see, for some of you guys with JLs, with the 8-speed transmission, I'm going to get up to speed and I'm going to set the cruise at 65 miles an hour. And I would say at 65 miles an hour, we are almost perfectly at 2,000 RPMs. Now, and that is in 8th gear. So for you guys with a Wrangler with either stock size or oversized tires, now, you will need to make sure your speedometer is calibrated so you can kind of compare apples to apples, but with this from the factory, with the factory calibration and 456 gears on those 35s, we are running right at 2,000 RPM at 65 miles an hour, just so you can see where yours stacks up to this 456 gear Jeep. Now, back to the driving, we are at, again, 60 miles an hour. I'm going to roll into it as we were to pass somebody. And 8-speed immediately downshifted to 6th, 4th, 5th gear, somewhere in there, and we took off pretty quickly. Now, these always feel great with the 8-speed transmission, so again, it's kind of hard to compare unless you're jumping into one back to back, but obviously it does have to feel better with that little bit deeper gearing. Now, ride quality with the Xtreme Recon honestly feels very, very similar to a normal Rubicon or maybe a lifted Rubicon. I don't have any weird rattling, any weird, you know, tram lining or anything like that. It just drives like it should. Obviously, even with the Mopar 2-inch and 37s on these things, they drive perfectly fine down the road. But from a stop, as we accelerate, once you get over about 3,000 RPM, into that V6, it really picks up almost considerably stronger than a stock tired Wrangler. And again, those are no slouch. Those move really well. They are very quick up to speed, but this feels maybe a little bit peppier. And now, the only other factory Jeep, maybe even more peppier, would of course be the 392 Wrangler, but honestly, it drives great. RPMs aren't super high, so if you were concerned about ordering this and 456 gears being too extreme for your Xtreme Recon, I definitely wouldn't be concerned. Like I said, 2,000 RPM at 65 miles an hour is definitely no concern here. And like I said, if you ended up with 37s or larger, you know that you're going to have a lot better chance of happily moving down the road. Well guys, hopefully you're as excited as I am. Like I said, this was my first Tuscadero Pearl Coat paint, and the fact that it was the first Xtreme Recon that I got to set my eyes on and go out and drive and feel that special gearing, and of course tires, bead locks, all the other stuff that makes an Xtreme Recon special. But the big thing is that little bit of lift and that big deep factory gearing. So guys, let me know down in the comment section, would you order Tuscadero Pearl Coat, or would you just go with the Xtreme Recon package, and or would you do both? But let me know down in the comments, what would your ideal Jeep Wrangler build be? 2-door, 4-door, 392, what would it be? And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.